So I'm going to show you how to create a pre-plan. So we have a paper pre-plan here, and it pretty much is simply a bit of information, facility and address, where the hydrants are, some construction type. All right, so there's a little bit of information here about FTCs and sprinklers. So I'm going to show you how to quickly put that into Blazemark. So you might be in response mode or you might be in pre-plan mode. Either way, you need to turn edit mode on. So you can go ahead and create a new pre-plan. So I'm going to show you how to create a simple type of a single structure. So we're going to start with a single structure. Later on, we'll talk a little bit about how you can also, let's say you have a university or a school district where you want to model 4 or 5 buildings and you want to put those all into pre-plans. It's up to you. You can do it, still do them as single buildings, or you can decide to create a campus. So right now, just to keep it simple, let's just create a single structure. So the name of the structure was Arauco plant. And you can add any manner of information here. So we can even add this kind of information, the mutual aid. It's really up to you. And we can add the address. And you can see it starts to find it. So you can zoom in, you can add a little more details like the satellite. So we'll just pick on one of these buildings to start. So this looks like this large building here. And that's cool. And you can go to Google Maps, for example, and measure the length if you don't have it. If you don't have the floor plan or you didn't get it, that's kind of a way that you can get it, at least get started. And let's see, I believe there was some construction info. Construction type class 3, non-combustible. Okay. Non-combustible type 2, type 3. Not being a firefighter, I'm not sure exactly which one is right, but I'm just going to pick one. You'll get to choose it for your own pre-plans. And then you can see you can add as much or as little information as you have at the moment. And contacts, I think there was contacts. So normally, this is a PDF. I happen to just wanted to obscure the actual data. And so I turned it into an image and I can't select it, but you could, let's just say there's a handful. So you can be fancy. You can create a table if you want. You can create a bulleted list, a numbered list. You can do it however you want. And I'm just making this up right now, but you get the idea. it's going to start off in draft so that you have a chance to go and review it and then finally publish it. So we're just going to quickly say we've created our first pre-plan, the structure, and we'll be able to add the other information. Let's just look ahead to see what the other information was. So we can add a little bit about the roof, and we can add hydrants. So you see across the top, these are all the elements that you can add. And you can also, because we're in the edit mode, you can also scroll down and see all the elements you can add. So either way, you get to the same spot. So you can kind of see this menu bar knows where we are down here. So let's just add, call it a main roof. And I have no idea what actually construction is, but it sounds like the covering is metal. So you can quickly add a roof. And some buildings have multiple kinds. So if you need to add multiple roofs here, you could do that, even though it's ostensibly one large building. And you can see here where you can add photos. If you had photos of things on the roof or anything else, you'd be able to add the photos here. Next, let's go back to the structure. And let's go back to the pre-plan. And we have hydrants. So now I've already, let's see what we got here. Water supplies. So you can see these water supplies actually already existed. So they were added earlier. So when you've already added them, you just need to select them. And that allows the hydrants to show up. Looks like there's a couple bracketing the actual facility. So that's cool. So you can see these water supplies happen to have images associated with them, so you can kind of get a feel for what you're looking for ahead of time. And they have the distance from the main building. So that all came in because I added those earlier in a prior demonstration. So, but the ability to add a water supply is quite simple. You can add them in bulk. If you have thousands of them, we can add them, but you really can just create, let's invent something here called a draft. And we'll call it something around whatever this river is. Haw River. So I'll just make something up here to give you an idea. And when you need to create something a little bit special like this, here's how you do it. You can, let's say you want the actual street address to be here. Let's say we want it to be somewhere everybody knows, 790. So once it gets to the right street address, I'm going to disable the geocoding, because then I'm going to say the actual draft site's in the water. So that will allow you to actually position it very specifically where, maybe off road. And it'll freeze the street address so everybody drives to the right place, and then they walk back to where the draft site might be, as an example. And we'll just make up, I don't know. So that's how easy it is to create a water supply. And I didn't add any photos or anything like that. But if you go to edit it, you can add the photo. So now we have 3 water supplies associated with that. So what else did we have on the pre-plan? We had, roof type we did, building dimensions, number of stories, fire flow, Well, we can automatically compute the fire flow based on the NFA and Iowa State University calculations. You can read more about those here. And basically, it offers up a pre-computed formula for you. So that's the fire flow, fire alarm company, and location panel. Simplex Grinnell. Okay, so there's a fire alarm panel. All right, so let's add an alarm panel. Simplex Grinnell. And again, you can move along here or scroll. Alarm. Okay. I don't know if it says where it's located. In the control room. All right, so let's say you actually know where the control room is. It might not be so important if it's a small building, but if it's a large building like this, click this to open up this map. Let's say show it on map, and let's zoom in and pretend like we know where it is in the building. And let's pretend like the control room is, I don't know. Let's pretend the control room is here. And I'm going to disable continuous geocoding again, just to lock that position in. And we're going to call it alarm panel, and we'll create the alarm. So one of the nice things is it's often very helpful to have photos. We've had some clients actually who recommended we add videos here because he was able to take videos of how some of these alarms work, and it's much easier than explaining it, in writing or something like that. So add what you want to show off the alarm. And there we go. We've added an alarm. What's next? We've got FDC, sprinkler. So there's a sprinkler system and wet except in the shipping area. Okay, so there's a sprinkler system here. Nice. So once again, we can move around, find out where we can put our sprinkler in. I think it's mostly full coverage. I don't know if it told us where the shutoff was. It said wet except in shipping area. All right. Except. So I have the browser spell checking on, which is helpful. Wet except in shipping area. Okay. Maybe that's a note. So we'll create the sprinkler. And you can see you can create, if there are multiple sprinkler systems, multiple elements, you just keep adding. And the FDC is at the front of the new building. We'll just call it number 1. Whatever new building means, who knows? See, that's why pre-plans are important, because even that doesn't really tell you anything. And I have no idea if there's 1 or 2 ports. And I have no idea what the... And let's assume it's marked appropriately. But you have to check all that. So it will show up on the map, but we're going to zoom in on it once again and pretend like we really know where it is. And let's just say it's in the front of the new building. I'm just going to hope this is the front of the new building. Let's call that the front of the new building. You get the idea. It could be anywhere. but you should know where it is and where to put it. And we're going to say it attaches to the main sprinkler. If we had modeled a standpipe, you get to choose what FTC is attached to which other parts of the protection system. Okay, so there we are. What else we got? Special hazards. Something map on A29, capacitor above electrical room. All right, so there's some hydrogen peroxide, some nasty stuff. So let's add some hazmats. All right, let's zip over to the hazmats. Okay, so I'm just going to zero in on, we'll just say it was the potassium hydroxide. We can always add additional hazmats to suit folks' needs, but we have a fair amount in the system. So I'm not sure what this means, map on 829, but I'm just going to type it in here. I'll just say maybe and maybe we wanted to enter all three separately, enter them differently, but I think you get the idea. Maybe we want to make this stand out, change the bold, make it bright red. And the location, I think it said, what, capacitor above electrical room or something like that. Location, capacitor above electrical room. Okay. All right. And I don't think it said quantity, but if you knew quantity, you could put that in there. House storage, you could write, you can see the information you put in here. And once again, let's say we know where the control room, because wouldn't it even be more important to understand the capacitor above the electrical room? So it would be ideal if you were able to zoom in on this building, and I'm just going to pretend we know where it is. I'm going to say the hazmat, the electrical room is over here. Who knows, but you get the idea. And so this potassium hydroxide is corrosive stuff, harmful chemical, I guess. And there we go. Once more, if you had photos and any kind of attachments, maybe material data sheets, anything like that. But when we can find, when we've entered a particular hazmat in the system, you get additional information that gets pulled up. As I said, we have clients that frequently ask us to add other stuff. They can add some of their own, but certain elements, if it's more complicated, we can add things for you. So, at any rate, let's see what we got. We've got the hazmat, we've got the FTC, we put the alarm, it already automatically calculates fire flow, it automatically calculated the square footage, I got the dimensions off of Google. We put in the roof, we added the construction type, we put in a handful of contacts, we associated it to existing hydrants, and we added a third draft site, and we added a note here. So I think in under 20 minutes, we just created a pretty nice pre-plan. I'm going to turn edit mode off, and you'll see it gets simple, right? So when you're actually responding and you go to this, the edit mode off just shows you what you have. It doesn't show you all available choices. It shows you, all right, I got water supply, fire flow, FTC, sprinkler, roof, hazmats. And, maybe we decide some of that information. So the quick action plan shows you elements that you want to see right away. Maybe you decide that the hazmat's super important. and you want it to be part of the quick action plan. So if I go back into edit mode and I edit, you can see here there's a little checkbox, include in the quick action plan. Now watch what happens. So once we say that's included in the quick action plan, and we go back off of edit mode, now inside the QAP, you'll see you get the map, got where your water is, got your fire flow, and now you said this particular thing is so important. I want anybody rolling up on this property in the very beginning to have this information. So you've added that to the QAP now. So there you go. In 20 minutes, with a lot of explanation, very quickly created a pre-plan for a structure and added in quite a few elements. So that's how easy it is. And when you're out in the field, you can actually add photos quite simply with your phone, and they don't get stored on your phone. So for example, I'll show you something right now. So I'm going to add a photo with my phone. Okay, so I took a little video on my phone while I'm sitting here recording this, just to show you how easy it is. So I have Blazemark on the phone. It's really easy to add. Search for the plan we just created, found it, change to edit mode, scroll down, or jump to the photo section. So you can see on the phone, this information still shows up nicely. So now when you click to add a photo, if you're on your desktop, you might have dragged and dropped photos there. Instead, I clicked on take a photo. And so I'm just going to take a photo. Of course, you can mess around with it, add to it. The cool thing is that photo never stays on your phone. It just gets uploaded immediately to the cloud. So now if I come back here and refresh Blazemark, there's our photo. And of course it was vertical when I took the image. And we can do things inside the photo editor like rotate and say, let's save it. And there you go. You could see other things in the photo editor, but you can find more help on the photo editor in there, but you could add stuff to it. But nonetheless, boom. So now I added a few more minutes to the demo just to show you how easy it is to use your phone to add photos to a pre-plan. So there you go. Check it out. It's quite a pre-plan we just built. So have at it. Keep enjoying Blazemark. And as always, you can find help here by asking questions. Like maybe, how do I get things on my phone? How to add Blazemark to your phone, because you might go, wow, that was really cool, John, thanks. And otherwise, you can send us a message and we'll respond. We're often online at strange hours, but sometimes not, and we'll still get an email. So thanks again, and enjoy Blazemark. We appreciate all of your hard work out there on the front lines. So have at it and stay safe.